Hey everyone, this is Pastor Sebastian again. We are talking about preparing the ground for the harvest that God wants to do in our lives. And last video, we talked about picking the right seed and how important it is to know what it is that you want to have at harvest. What is the fruit, the blessing that you want to receive at harvest, and how important it is to identify the correct seed and the thing that you want to work on, that God is inspiring and speaking to you to work on. And here, moving into a second part, I think once you've identified the seed, it's important to work on preparing the ground. Now, I'm not outside right now. I am in my office, but I do have a couple plants. If you've been around here, my wife loves plants, and so if you come to our house, we have a lot of plants. It's like a jungle in there. And so she's teaching me a little bit more about planting and how important the soil is, right? I've heard that landscapers will spend a lot of their time and money on correcting and healing and making the soil good, because if the soil is good, anything can thrive. But if you have toxic soil or soil that is not beneficial for growth of any seed or any plants or anything that you put there, then it won't succeed, right? So it's important to identify the soil we're growing with. Here, we have a Sansevieria whale fin, right? It's very interesting. It's a big, plant, tree. It looks like just a leaf. But here we have this plant, and the soil is so important. I've seen so many times my wife, when we get a new plant, she takes it out and she's cleaning the roots and she's bringing fresh soil that is mixed with nutrients and different goodies that help the plant thrive and to receive the things it needs, right? And on top of the soil, right, now this is now going into tending and cultivating. It's so important to water it, right? And what's interesting about every plant has different, if you want to call it, thresholds or needs of water. Some need water daily, some need water every couple of weeks. Same thing with the sun. Some need to be by the sun. Some can only take a little bit of sun. And so it's interesting to know, right? Once you have identified what seed you have, you can then prepare the conditions for where that seed will be planted, right? And it reminds me of a parable that Jesus told in Matthew 13. You've probably heard it. It's the parable of the sower. And it's interesting, Jesus is saying that there is this farmer, this sower that goes out and he's not really preparing the ground, it seems as though. He's just throwing seed, and wherever the seed lands, praying that it will catch, right? So he throws a seed and it falls on the rocks, it falls on the footpath, it falls on among thorns, and it falls on, then the last part of the seeds fall on fertile soil. And these seeds are the ones that truly grow and have powerful roots. And it's interesting because this represents kind of the receptivity of many people to the message of Jesus and his kingdom. And it's interesting, right? Because we can all be desiring of growing something, of planting something in us, and of doing something great. But if the soil, right, the environment, what this is going to be placed in, what the vision, what the dream, what the seed is going to be placed in, if that's not correct, the seed is going to be limited in its growth. And so in this parable, the seed that fell on the field, on the footpath, did not grow because the sun came and scorched it. Those that fell on the shallow soil with rock, it didn't grow deep because it was too shallow. Then there was others that grew among the thorns, but the thorns just pressed it and wasn't able to give it the maximum space to grow. But the seed that fell on the fertile soil, the soil that was ready, the ground that was prepared, the ground that was made for this purpose of growing this seed, was able to see an increase of the seed and the growth of the seed, and the a beautiful reality of what happens when the preparation of the ground is done right? So we have to begin to understand, am I ready to receive that, right? Am I ready in my decisions, in my day-to-day, and the things that I do to be able to carry out and provide a housing for what God wants to do, right? Am I preparing the ground, right? And what's interesting about preparing the ground and preparing this, like I mentioned before, is that you need to many times take out the soil that is not good, clean it out, and put new soil, right? Even here, we have the roots growing in the bottom right here. And so there may be a time when, if I'm not seeing it grow right, I need to tend to it, and I need to remove that soil and clean it from the roots, put some good stuff in it to make it grow. And Chantal will know, she can guide me with that. And then put new soil, right? Because I need to make sure that the environment in which the seed is being planted in is ready and able to carry it out. Now, God can help you with that. What's important for us is to surrender and say, God, what is it you want to plant in me, and how can I be ready to receive that? What do I need to take away? What do I need to do more? What do I need to, say no to? Who do I need to surround myself with so that I can accomplish through your grace and through your Spirit what you have called me to be? I hope that helps you think today and the rest of this time as we're journeying through this idea of harvest, into realizing how important it is to prepare the ground for what God wants to do in our lives.